Good afternoon, folks. Ryan Gonzalez here with Becker Properties. I'm joined with Carlos Cruz, my co-host,
How you doing?
Mr. Carlos Cruz from Mortgage Capital, and he's a broker, and he's my co-host, so always have him on the show.
Ready for a good day?
Yes, sir. We have a special guest here, Mr. Chris. How do you say your last name? Posh?
Persh.
Persh. Mr. Chris Persh. He's been an inspector for 10 years, 8 years, 12 years?
Dear Lord. Before med school, so 20
years. Yeah, he's
So you just started.
Yeah, exactly.
Been in the business a long time. So for people that don't know what inspectors do, or who you are, can you explain to the people, what you do on a day-to-day basis when you inspect?
Oh, for inspections. Yeah, for sure. I think inspections, it's kind of evolved over time. So it depends on who you're talking to. If you're looking at someone who has had a home for years and is now downsizing, the inspection process will look very different than when they bought their first home, compared to a new buyer who is showing up to KB or whatever, one of the big builds, and taken around by a sales rep. I look for very different things at an inspection, but knowing who your client is, I think, is the most important thing in order to answer that question. Because 15, 20 years ago, an inspection was a checklist, and it's looking for cosmetic things that are broken. Now an inspection, we're more looking for patterns to see what's going on with the house. How is it interacting with the environment? What are trends with this house? So I guess a good example would be a cracked tile. 15, 20 years ago, I would see a cracked tile in the middle of the floor. I would check that box that there was a deficit in the flooring and say, there you go, point it out to the buyer if they showed up. We got a little bit more advanced, and I had a Polaroid, and I could take a picture of it and attach it to literally a stack of papers and hand it to the buyer. Now, I will notate the cracked tile, but it's more about figuring out why that tile cracked. Is this an indication that the house is moving? Is this a settling crack? Was it poor craftsmanship? And wherever that goes, in conjunction with other things on the inspection list, the house starts to tell a picture or tell a story. And it's my job not only to understand that story, but to be able to communicate it effectively to whoever the buyer is.
And I know that the issues vary depending on the house's age and location, but what are some of the most common issues you see in inspections?
Man, that's not an easy question. It depends.
Long list, right?
Well, yeah. Like if you're talking about a house in Southtown that was built in the 1920s, or are you talking about something on the west side that was built last week? Every house has the same fundamental components, but the building process, the materials have changed over time. So
Sure.
What we're looking for, what fails most frequently, also shifts.
I'll go to my house, right? So it's a 50-year-old house.
Yep.
And we bought it. And we didn't want, my wife wanted to buy it. I didn't. And we bought it. We bought it.
Funny how that works.
I don't regret it now, but I mean, I'm still dealing with 50 years of different owners, really bad repairs. I'm also dealing with 50 years of a house that had probably a very different building code than it does now. We had to replace, a structural beam in the ceiling that 50 years ago they used 2 sheets of plywood to hold up a 25-foot span. My roof was collapsing. So little things like that just sound, I have a shed that somebody clearly wired and tapped into the box.
Yeah.
That scares me daily until it gets rewired, things
absolutely.
like that. So I think one of the questions that I've got that goes with that is, what are some of the fundamental things you look for first before you start to go down that path of, oh my God, this is going to get way worse?
Yeah, that's a great question. Pulling up to a house, as soon as you enter the general area, you start looking at the houses around it. The age of the home, the siding. If it's brick, are there cracks in the other houses? Are the roof conditions fine? What does the grading look like? The landscape, is it a bunch of big, beautiful oak trees that are awesome, but crack foundations like crazy? You start looking at those kind of things along with the age of the house. Then you show up to the house, before you get out your phone or your tablet or any of your tools, you just do a walkthrough, see what the house looks like. How old are the components? Has this ever been touched? God forbid, was a flipper in there? Because that's a whole nother issue that you just kind of sometimes as an inspector want to walk away from. But yeah, are you asking as a buyer or as a home inspector?
As a buyer, when you're speaking with me and you're going to go start this inspection process, do you tell me, hey, listen, I'm going to look for these things first because that's going to decide what other directions I keep looking?
Yeah.
Or do you just go in and then give me this report and then hopefully I understand it?
No, so that's absolutely perfect. So I would say to any buyer out there, the absolute first thing you need to do is have a conversation with your inspector before you agree to an inspection. If your real estate agent or realtor is like, here's your inspector, schedule it with them, pay them. Cool. Have a conversation first because we'll take y'all. So both of you come to me saying, I want an inspection on the house. Investor, not investor. You just want to buy this so you can flip it and make some money. You want to buy this to raise your family for the next 15, 20 years. The inspection itself doesn't change, but the way I approach it absolutely does. Because for you, the investor, I'm looking at, are there good bones here? You know that you're going to spend some money getting this up to whatever standard you want. Ryan, you know that you want a house that is going to last at least until your kids get out of high school. Those are two completely different situations. That makes sense? So once we establish that, I know what you are doing, then I can say, here's what I standard do. Like I have to look at the foundation. I have to look at roof. I have to look at anything in the house that functions. Like I'm going to stress test the plumbing. I'm going to pull off the panels and see if it's aluminum wiring or, does it have up to code or relatively up to code safety standards electrical? I go through that standard list. I say, y'all have been to the house. I haven't. Is there anything that you want me to look at that y'all noticed? Or do you have any past experiences with houses that scare you that you want me to give you my best understanding of how this house is performing at that time?
Is your approach on new construction, because typically what you see with families that are looking at a new construction, many of them are first-time buyers.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody was raised by a dad that hung out at Home Depot and taught his son how to do roofing at 13. And, so let's assume that you're approaching that family that's buying the first home that has no background in home repair, home maintenance, home anything. Mm-hmm. How do you approach that with a new build?
Well, I'll chime in just 1 second on that because most builders or sales reps will tell the buyers coming to them, especially if they don't have a realtor coming in.
Yeah.
They'll tell them, oh yeah, we do third-party inspections, we pull permits and stuff like that. There's no reason really to get an inspection. And they'll tell them something along those lines to where a buyer doesn't think they need to get an inspection or third-party inspection. Their inspections are from the area manager on site or supervisor on site, superintendent, and they're basically just checking if stuff's been done. They have a checklist and see if stuff's been done. They don't really dig into, from what I've seen, they don't dig into the quality too much because they're in and out of like 20 or 30 houses. And that's just in that one neighborhood. If they're supervising different neighborhoods, then that's like, 2 times, 3 times that. And so they do, like, I've had buyers choose to not do an inspection, but I highly encourage it. But I've had buyers not do an inspection before they close on that new build. And there's some superintendents that will walk through the house and they're really good about pointing out certain stuff. But I mean, you just know that they're missing something. And then probably about 6 months down the road, they're calling the builder because something messed up, but that probably could have been avoided if they had a third-party inspection ahead of time. So I highly recommend a third-party inspection with a new build because a lot of stuff gets missed. These trades are getting paid per job. So they're trying to get
Nobody's perfect.
They're trying to get in and out of these houses really quick to move on to the next house.
And so let's be real though, if you want the perfect home, you're not spending $350,000. You're spending $1.5 million.
Yeah, but you can
But there's still never going to be a perfect home.
But it's not about perfect. So
Well, I'll give you an example. One of my neighbors, I was over having a barbecue, and he said, "Hey, Carlos, can you come look at some things with me that I'm not comfortable with?" He had just bought an $800,000 home.
Yep.
And he said, "I've been getting bugs coming in my house through the wall." And so we looked around the side, and it looked like the house was overhanging the foundation. And he stuck his hand up there, and he realized he could stick his entire hand up the wall.
That's wild.
I'm like, yeah, it sounds like somebody did an oops and didn't styrofoam fill it, or didn't enclose it properly, or just didn't care.
Yeah. So my first reaction to your what would I tell a new buyer? I'd say bring a can of diesel and some matches, because most new homes I want to just burn to the ground.
That bad?
Yes.
Give me 3 examples of some of the ugliest things you've seen from
crazy.
a brand new home.
That's crazy.
So, yes, I can do that. We'll start off with what a buyer should do if they're going to get a new home.
Okay.
So if you're going to go with a new build, especially in the price range you're talking about, you hire an inspector to do a phase inspection. So you don't buy something that already has sheetrock up and is awesome.
Where you can't see inside the walls?
Correct. So you hire someone like me to come before the slab is poured.
I'm going to stop you right there. I, as a broker, am starting to see new build contracts that say no site inspection is allowed until the home is complete.
Tough shit. Walk away.
I hear you.
I mean,
yeah, there was a couple of builders that were telling me that in the very beginning when they were doing a lot of.
They're calling it a safety and hazard issue.
Yeah. There's
I have more insurance than they do.
I'm tracking.
There's a couple of builders that were telling me that they do not wait for third party inspectors for one, and then some that don't allow them.
Yeah.
And we're like, that's definitely never a good sign, right? It's a red flag for sure.
Yeah.
But that's something that my broker would tell me when I first started. If you're ever gonna help a buyer buy a new construction home, like try to do a dirt sell and try to have for sure a 3-phase inspection, which he'll be able to explain a little better.
So walk me through that.
So a phase inspection, it's a little bit more pricey than just a final inspection, but it's all encompassing. So for say a typical inspection is roughly $500. A phase inspection, I'm going to charge $800, but that means at least 3 visits out to that property. The first one is before the slab is poured. So I show up, all the forms are up, all the rough-in plumbing is done, all the rebar's there, all the compact is there, and all the vapor barriers on the compact. If there are holes in the vapor barrier, ultimately moisture can transfer up and down through that vapor barrier. Most people buying a home don't know what that is or why it matters. Your inspector does, and it's not hard to fix. I walk around with a can of spray paint and I spray these areas and say, fix this, then you are allowed to pour. Or the rough-in plumbing will be touching rebar or touching one of the compact sites. As soon as you get hundreds of tons of concrete or cement poured on it, that's going to crack, and that's going to be inside your slab. Again, not an expensive fix. Like, all these things are super easy to do. I don't charge a ton of money because it doesn't take me a lot of time. And I think the project managers and the builders should encourage this because ultimately it's a much higher end product. If I'm not delaying the build at all, I'm just saying, hey, fix this. It's going to take you 10 minutes and you're going to have a better build. Okay. I come through, do all my spray paint. They come through, they fix whatever it is that I call out, or we have a conversation about it because the builder does not respond to me. If they don't want to look at my report, they don't have to. That's where there's advocacy from your realtor. But that's done. Slab is poured.
Hence the reason to always have a realtor.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Because without a realtor, who's your advocate when you're at the builder?
The cute sales rep.
Sorry, man. It's crazy.
No, I mean, of course, I 100% support that.
The next fit, like once a slab is poured and cured, a framing crew in San Antonio can put up a 4,000 or 5,000 square foot house in less than a week. That's done as soon as the roof starts to go on and the house is dried in. I come back for a framing inspection, looking for all the things. Unlike your poor friend, like I make sure that your sill plates are actually lined up. They're not overhanging. All the anchor bolts are in, so you have the sill plate, right, which is the base of the wall. every 6 inches from the end, every spot there's a junction, it needs to have one of these big lag bolt or concrete anchors coming up. I see them all the time. A lot of people will not go in and put a nut on that or tighten that down. So they've done most of the work. It's just this was someone's job to do who was sick that day or didn't care that day or whatever. Again, very small things. You look 15 years from now, 10 years from now, 5 years from now, that house is moving all over the place. There's no way to identify that. But I guarantee you, if you ripped out the walls, you would see these issues. And they're like, would have been cool.
Yeah, and the sheetrock guys are not going to tell the framers, hey, you
No,
missed
because they're getting paid by the job.
Yeah. And then, so once all that is done, and each of these comes with a written report with pictures and documentation. And if the construction manager is cool with it, you go in with clearly identified, like I always carry a can of spray paint, because a picture of one anchor bolt, like
Where you find it.
Yeah, exactly. So I just go and start spraying everything, like fix all the crap in green, and you're good. Then we get to the final inspection, and at that final inspection, it's just like any other inspection. But now we know the underlying mechanicals. We know where all the power is run. We know where all the plumbing is run. We know it's correct. So you get your final inspection plus all that underneath guarantee or security, not guarantee.
Let's assume I choose that new build, that 3-phase inspection. I spend the $800. Let's assume the average house is what, 2,500 square feet.
Sure.
How much time is your time actually on site each visit?
So a final inspection, if everything goes well, is about 3 hours. The other 2 phases, probably an hour, assuming everything's going well.
So
that's
5 hours, and somebody's going to go, well, man, you just did this thing in 5 hours. Well, that's because you've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah, 5 hours. I mean, but that's not the documentation.
I'm
That's
tracking that.
That's at least another 2, if not 3 or 4.
What people sometimes miss is the value of the expertise,
Oh, yeah.
the value of your experience, the value of your time. I mean, like I said, I there's a reason these builders are giving away thousands and thousands of dollars, but nobody gives away money. So where are they taking it from? Is it quality of labor? Is it quality of materials? And if you don't have an inspector to go look at that new home, you're stuck with it for 10 years, 20 years.
Oh, but don't worry. There's a warranty on it.
Oh man,
I mean,
those are trash.
There are houses on the west side currently. I'm not going to name a builder because I don't want to get sued, but they are not putting headers above doors and windows. A header is what you do. If you just imagine
That's a structural thing.
Yeah, just imagine a wall with all your studs, and you want to put a door or a window somewhere. You cut out some of those studs. Now, essentially, you just have a hole in the wall. To transfer that load, you put a header in, which is a big piece of wood right where that hole is. So the transfer of the weight above goes down to the concrete below.
How is that builder passing code? Or is it not code?
Passing what code?
They're not inspecting it?
Who?
Permits?
City?
The
Permits?
city?
What are you talking about? You think we have enough city inspectors to look at every single build? No, these builders, what they do, the big builders will get an engineer firm and an architectural firm to draw up plans, and they will guarantee that the load distribution is fine because they are using a specific door frame or a specific door or whatever. And it all looks hunky-dory on paper, and it just moves on down the road. That way your city inspector, if they do come out, they're not going to go for an architectural review or get a structural engineer to check this out.
Sometimes those city inspectors don't even visit the property, or it's like real brief, right?
No, but they can't. I mean, think of how many houses are being built in San Antonio and surrounding area right now. It's physically, you cannot do it.
So how do you get that permit passed? Like, isn't there certain phases of permits you have to get passed by the city, or?
Not if you're a big builder.
No.
It's whole cloth. Kind of like, think of it like WDIs for VA loans, right? If you get a VA loan, you need a wood destroying insect certification that has been done. A big builder will treat the entire neighborhood or have a certificate saying that was done.
Or they'll treat the lumber, and then with the lumber that's been treated. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's just
like we as the lender have to honor that.
Yeah. You're like, here it is. Here's our piece of paper saying it was done correctly. That's all it is. It's a piece of freaking paper. I'm seeing new builds on the southwest side on the way to the ranch that have active termite colonies that we've called out in framing inspections and gone back for finals. and the colonies have spread before anyone has ever moved in.
Sheesh.
And it's just insane.
So would you recommend
Can of diesel.
besides that a termite inspection before they move into on these new builds?
Yes and no.
Some builders are putting in certain pest treatments in
Like
the
the whole
walls.
house pest control.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Does that work? Is that
yeah.
legit? Okay.
So there's not a single big box builder right now that has those installed that will actually engage the lines before the home is purchased. All the stuff is there. It costs $15 to charge the system. They won't do it. Not till someone moves in.
Gotcha.
And once you get termites in the wall, so essentially 18 inches off
Those
the
lines go through the walls though, don't they?
Yeah, they through
Okay.
every stud all around the perimeter. It's a tiny, tiny green or blue line,
Yeah,
the
I remember.
little perforations. 18 inches. So you charge that inside the walls, all that stuff gets spit out. Anything that's above that,
That's already there.
that's living there, if
That-
your
that's
if
like
your
that second story?
yeah, if your
Okay, so
termites
that's
were like,
that's the bigger
"Oh,
problem too, like you said, because that upper part's not getting treated.
No, I mean the new builds terrify me.
Would you buy one right
No.
now? Okay,
I would not take one.
gotcha. So what about this myth that the older homes were built better than the newer homes,
Ooh.
better material, or because
Um,
there are probably give and takes on that, right? Like,
I would say we have better material now, better craftsmanship then.
My mom's house, I think it was built in the late 50s in Alma Heights.
You have a radio voice, by the way.
Thank
I'm
you.
sorry.
Thank you. My mom's house, built in the late 50s. It's got cedar studs and cedar sill plates.
Cool.
Now, ironically, we've never treated the home, but we've never had bug infestation.
Mhm.
Is it because of the studs or just because we got lucky?
Both. I mean, cedar does have resin that's a natural deterrent, but when bugs get hungry,
Yeah,
they
they're
come
gonna
in.
go through. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think we got lucky.
Is it a slab or pier and beam?
Slab.
Yeah. Pier and beam, you see it. I mean, pier and beams are much harder. I like pier and beams for this part of the world just because we have a super clay soil that's very expansive when it gets wet and very, contracted.
all around
when
the city, right?
Yeah, it
Pretty much.
gets much worse the more towards the Shirt, Cibolo,
Oh, I've seen
Braunfels
that.
area.
Yeah.
Alma Heights is a disaster. I mean, my mom's house one year is leaning this way and the next year is leaning the other way.
Yeah, if we could somehow talk to God and get like consistent rain,
Yeah,
that would be cool. But that's not what San Antonio does.
that's not going to happen.
We do long periods of drought, and if y'all remember art school back when we were
Clay dries
little,
up.
yeah, clay dries, it cracks. Well, imagine then taking that clay and then dunking it in your bathtub for a little bit, and it swells back up. I mean, that's what's happening to the houses.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that, the soil and foundation issues here in San Antonio. We see that tons. Like I've seen that all the time. So do you, I'm sure.
Mhm.
And there are certain things that you recommend that could help maybe deter the water or help that situation with the clay drying up or the soil drying up around the house.
Yeah.
We've heard basically water your foundation. We've heard that before.
Mhm.
Install some gutters. What is your take on everything?
So I joke with new buyers whenever I'm doing the inspection walkthrough with them. I'm like, I'm going to charge you double if you do not plan to install gutters. Like gutters are non-negotiable for me, and I will hit that point 3 or 4 times. Water management around your foundation is single-handedly the best thing we can do because of what I just said, the long periods of drought and then tons of water and drought, and the whole house shifts, especially in these new larger communities that are being built that used to be ranch land and farmland.
Right.
Like you
It's
take,
real soft.
yeah, you take land that's been tilled for, 50, 60 years and then suddenly put hundreds of thousands of tons of concrete on it and expect it to just be like, cool. It's going to shift. Unfortunately, new homes, like in those kind of subdivisions, it used to be the first 7 years of a home's construction is when it moved the most. That's now kind of been pushed out because homes are being built at such large scale. Like the quantity of homes being built at one time, the impact is more distributed. So the amount of time that the ground takes to shift and settle is longer than it used to be.
Interesting.
Are foundations being built better than they were years ago? They have those cables that run through them, supposedly the tension cables,
the
right?
post tension cables. Yeah, there's a lot of things that can be done. Are they?
Are they being done? Yeah.
Hence the reason for the foundation inspection in
that's
the
what
beginning.
we talked about earlier. I mean,
Sure.
you can have a Ferrari, but if you don't know how to drive a stick, you're not going to go very far.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So the watering your foundation, this one is a real hard pill for me to swallow because I'm on a well, and wells are expensive and we're running out of water in Texas. But yes, you should maintain a constant level of moisture in the soil around your home. That doesn't mean you need to water it every day or even, every week necessarily, but you need to maintain a constant level of moisture. That's
You just
why.
don't want to get it all dried up and
No.
see a
No
see a-
extremes.
see
Yeah,
a
like,
space
no
between,
extremes.
between the foundation and the soil.
Mhm. The same thing with gutters.
What about more like north central, northwest, out towards like Bernie, Fiesta, Texas area? That area seems like a lot more solid as far
We're
as like
built on a damn rock.
yeah.
Come to my house and try and dig a hole.
Well, now,
Yeah. So that area doesn't really shift as much.
It still does.
It still does,
So,
okay.
Again, depending on how the foundation was constructed.
I know there's some communities out in the Bernie, Fair Oaks area where there's some low-lying creek bed areas, some
Mhm.
old ponds that used to be in. And so some of these builders are coming in and just dumping tons and tons of soil and material, compacting it, and then building a house above that flood line
Mhm.
and getting away with it.
Mm.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Obviously, engineering is different than it was 50, 60 years ago, but it's just something to be aware of, I think, if you're looking.
So it was basically in a floodplain at one point, but they're
Correct.
building it up to where it's
High
not in a
enough.
floodplain.
Yeah.
Yeah, floodplain.
Well, you can build in a floodplain and still get insurance. You just need
Sure.
to make one phone call, pay $150 for a new survey. And that's all it is. It's what our river house is. Not that we built it, but someone paid $150. A surveyor came out and was like, yeah, the risk is negligible. This July 4th flood, when the river came up 52 feet, if it had come up another foot, maybe two, or at least our swimming pool would have been underwater. Cool.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't know you can do that.
You're not going to ever outrun, I think, every act of God, but I think you can mitigate to some point
Again,
some of that risk. And then make sure you have really good insurance.
it's
Well,
funny.
I mean, you got to get flood insurance.
Yeah. If you're in a flood zone.
Yeah.
Oh, my wife and I were just having this discussion with our neighbors at a Christmas party. We're out near Bernie, and neither one of us can get different insurance policies because the fire risk is now too high. We have to stick with who we have. We have been shot. We have our insurance people shopping. They're like, there's nothing. No one is willing to touch us.
Wow.
That's disturbing.
It's super fun.
Just for basic insurance, like home insurance, or
Yeah, this isn't for flood. Yeah. Just home insurance.
Sheesh.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, insurance is crazy.
We've had that
right now.
conversation over
Yeah,
and
it's,
over
it's
again.
crazy right now. It's gone up so much. It's a killer for sure. Well, let's move on to the inspection part of it. I mean,
Okay.
that was cool. I'm glad we were talking about foundations. All that stuff interests me, and I've told buyers, yeah, I try to set the expectations in the beginning about certain areas and stuff like that. Not trying to necessarily steer them, but just educate them on the areas and what they need to do beforehand, and what potential problems they could have in certain areas, because I know the soil is soft. And there's certain areas where they want to be, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I really don't know. And as you go through the houses, you'll see certain telltale signs of
Well,
foundation
the
issues.
corner of the doorways, right? Where,
Yeah.
where you see that line of
Yeah,
cracking
you're
going up in the
diagonal.
corner.
Yeah.
And you realize, okay, something shifted.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is normal. It really is
Mm-hmm.
for a little bit. But if you see them only on like the left side of the house,
Well, there was a house that I flipped, and we noticed that somebody had poured a slab in the back, didn't attach it to the house properly,
cool.
and then built an added-on room to it.
Mm-hmm.
We had to
think it was
completely shore up that entire foundation.
That was sinking, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
It's
The rest of the
Prob-
house was fine.
Or they
Just
built-
that one little slab was
Yeah.
Or they build the slab too thin,
like
or
4
they don't
inches,
reinforce it.
Yeah, we've seen
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah, all that.
a couple bags of Quickcrete.
Those
I-
additions, those are an issue too.
Mhm.
Yeah, most people don't pull permits for them, or they're not done right. You know,
And
one
they're
way or
saving a
another.
buck.
Yeah, that was one of the things that I ran into when I first got into real estate a lot. Is that we found that people weren't pulling permits for certain stuff that they did.
Yeah.
It was either flippers or people adding on or whatnot, converting garages,
Making
certain
room,
things.
yeah.
Back to the inspection stuff. What are some issues that buyers don't think are a big deal, but really are? Like some stuff they kind of just goes in one ear, goes out the other. Or something like that's small that could become big that they need to keep an eye on.
Painting of exterior materials, like your siding and everything outside. It's often just viewed as cosmetic. It is that, absolutely. But most materials are made to be painted every 10 to 15 years.
It's also a barrier to the house, right? Like a
Yeah.
moisture barrier.
Well,
Yes.
so
kinda.
I know
somewhat,
that
somewhat
some
right.
builders will actually put a primer base
Mhm.
over the exterior and then paint it with a high quality paint.
Mhm.
And there's some builders that I've seen. I've literally driven through a neighborhood and see them just spraying raw wood.
Mhm. Or cement fiber.
It's going to fade.
Yeah.
It's going to fade. It's going to thin out, and it's going to change.
Well, yeah, the builders are trying to save costs as much as possible too.
Which is
so-
why they're giving away $20,000 on.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's certain types of paint, certain grades of paint,
Yeah.
you know, that you definitely need to use too.
Stucco. Stucco is a huge thing. So if we're doing one of the phase inspections, I really try and schedule phase inspections only within 15 minutes of me driving, because I like to make unscheduled visits, or at least drive-bys, because a true stucco needs to at least be 3 coats. And the vast majority of builders now will do 2.
I had a very expensive home that the wall that was stucco, well, it was like a little interior patio,
Mm-hmm.
but that was the wall that got the entire afternoon
Sun.
and evening sun. And wow, how ironic it was the wall that cracked.
Yeah, weird.
And I called the builder. Now, the builder was very respectful. They said, we're going to redo the whole wall.
Cool.
And they matched the paint. They did not skimp on integrity.
Yeah.
But I don't know if every builder's like that.
Most aren't. There are a handful, and I don't know, we should probably clarify the terms, because saying the builder, all I think of is like this giant corporate entity. But every home is supervised hopefully by one project manager.
Mhm.
Typically what you're seeing now is that they bounce those project managers around so much that one PM does not take the home from start to finish, which is really tough. Because
Or I think they just have too much on their plate too.
they can, but I have met some astounding PMs, like 3 of them.
I met some good ones too. Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
The vast majority of them are more in line with what I'm talking about. They're like, oh, the last PM did this, so I was brought in to fix it.
Mm.
And then in 2 weeks, he's gone. And then the next one comes and he's like, yeah, these guys, they didn't really know, they were new, so I'm going to fix it. It's just, just keep handing the buck. But there's one project manager, oh God, I think it was over there in Alamo Ranch area. A trend that we have been seeing, my team and I, is before they put on the stucco coat. So you have a framed house roof, it's all dried in. You have the stucco guys come in, they're going to take runners, 2x4s, and nail them through the shingles on the roof so that they can scamper up and down without falling. So one, don't do that. They make safety equipment and ladders and stuff specifically for that purpose. 2, don't do that. Because they're like, oh, well, we're going to seal the holes once we're done.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
Sure you are, but you just made holes.
Yeah, you just made holes. And so if you think about, can you shoot a nail through a shingle, come back and, either take that nail out, fill it with some sort of caulk or whatever. Yeah. Is that how the shingle was designed? No. But what is actually happening is you slap a 2x4 down, You shoot a nail through that 2x4, it takes some of the splinters of wood and then shoots that through the shingle. What ultimately happens is on the back side and the attic side, that roof decking is blown out like a damn shotgun.
Mm.
So even if they don't seal the hole with caulk, they actually replace the whole shingle. I've seen this. You get up in the attic and you can look and you see like a
Little explosion
softball
holes.
to a grapefruit size hole in the decking. And I'm like, you can't have this.
That's what really needs to be repaired.
Yeah, because I mean, the shingle, think of it as a soft landing for a piece of hail or whatever. Is it possible or is it probable that we have a hailstorm and a piece of hail will hit right there? No. I mean, statistically.
Actually, it is, because I bought my very first home at 30 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And 4 days after I bought it, thank God we had USAA insurance. I will brag about that.
Okay.
We had softball size hail start hitting the roof. It was going through those
Through the
old
decking.
wind turbines
Mm-hmm.
and exploding in my attic.
Yep.
It sounded like bombs were going off. So yeah,
Well, this is
it will happen to somebody sometime.
But I'm not talking about softball size hail. I'm talking about
The little regular stuff.
little normal stuff. If it hits that one spot that doesn't have decking behind it, it's going to puncture a hole through.
Yeah.
And like, I'm a home inspector who like makes his wife and kids do all sorts of crazy, stupid shit at our house. I never make them get in the attic and like look around. The likelihood that you would notice that one piece of hail punctured through a shingle and you now have a gaping hole in your roof, you're not going to notice that typically.
Until it's too late.
Yeah.
Until you see water running.
Well,
down.
'cause-
yeah.
Again, with the rain that we have, you're going to get a little drizzle like it is today. And some of that moisture is going to come in. It's going to ruin the roof decking. It's going to sit on the shingle. Is it going to go through the sheetrock? Probably not. The next time, maybe. The next time, maybe. Until you start to see that blister and that paint blister up. I mean, it could be a year or two before you realize it. And it's just so stupid.
I got a question for you. And this is something that's happened to me twice already. What's your opinion about fireplaces as an entry point for water and water damage?
They're super common. I mean, there is industry standard way to do it. It's not hard. Like my 11-year-old can do it if you can follow instructions.
So is it that they're not doing the proper flashing at the base? Or because for us,
It was at the cap.
it was at the cap. One of them installed the wrong cap and it was too short. So water was coming in.
Yeah.
And then the other house, the old house, the cap was rotted. It was just completely, my nephew just pulled it
Yeah.
off.
Rusted out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons I like drone, like technology has increased so much in home inspections compared to how it used to be. And I love my drone. Don't get me wrong.
So you don't want to
But-
get up on a roof with a pitch like that? And
No, I don't.
on the
But-
second story?
But I do prefer to get on the roof.
No, I get it.
I absolutely do. You get better pictures. You get a better feel for it. Sometimes it's not safe, but there have been houses that I've done with a drone and I'm like, I have time. I have a safety harness. Let me do this before the buyer shows up. It's one that I can remember distinctly. And I walked over and to get my balance, because I wear my stupid cowboy boots on the roof, to catch my balance, I touched the chimney and the chimney moved.
That's
You can't do that with a drone. I'm like, oh,
Sheesh.
glad I got up here.
Mm-hmm.
Had I not done that, would have been entirely on me. How they would have found out, God only knows. Hopefully no one would have died. I don't know what to say beyond
No,
that.
that's a genuine statement.
Yeah,
I mean, chimneys do weigh a lot.
absolutely.
Cool. So what are some of the biggest mistakes first-time buyers make when it comes to inspections?
Not asking questions, pretending like they know what I'm talking about.
You get a lot of head nods, but damn right, they don't know what you're talking about.
I'm like, hey, do you know the difference between AFCI, GFCI? Because you're kind of above code here. And they're like, cool. I'm like, you don't know.
And I know
But
you.
it sounds like
I know
time
you
out.
try to simplify it
Mhm.
for them as
It
well.
sounds like you make an effort to actually have a conversation, not just a speech.
No, absolutely not.
Because we all know that when somebody feels humbled, they tend to go into that turtle shell and
Mhm.
stop asking any questions.
Yeah, no, like I actually enjoy this. I mean, I got back into this after COVID because it kept me away from sick people for a while and gives me a little bit more flexibility. But I still love interacting with people and educating them. It's very transactional if I do not get to walk a buyer through their house. And truly, like there's things on a report that I have to put in there that don't mean anything. I think you asked a question earlier, like what is a small thing that people freak out about? The anti-siphon device is missing from exterior hose bibs.
Yeah.
Sounds super scary. It's a $5 piece at Lowe's that you screw on.
Screw on.
Cool. That doesn't need, but legally I have to put that in the
Sure.
report. An example I give all the time about something I can't put in the report that needs to be brought up is I did this gentleman's house up in Canyon Lake, 5 teenage daughters, brand new. It was like a $1.2 million home. He had one 50-gallon hot water heater. It was done perfectly to code, but it was one with $5. I was like, you're never going to have a shower ever. Like now is the time to have that addressed. There's nowhere for me in the report to put like deficient amount of water heated for 5 teenage daughters. That's get out of here. I can't do that.
That big house that we had bought in Fair Oaks, I mean, it had 2 giant water heaters. It was funny because it was just 2 of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you size it appropriately. But
based off the square footage, right? Or number of bathrooms.
Bedrooms and size and yeah.
But yeah, like if a buyer has time, if they can make time to come out like the last 15 minutes before I finish up, just give me 30 minutes, maybe an hour of their time, we can walk through everything. And some inspectors don't like doing that because they want to get on to the next one and the next one and the next one. I get that. That's totally cool. My perspective is if I can take the time to walk you through everything and then you get my report later with all the pictures for reference, you can go back. You're not picking up the phone and calling me 10 times saying we didn't talk about this, this, or this.
That takes me to another question. So they've got the inspection report. They've completed this process with you. They're in the home. Do you ever get people call you back a year later saying, hey, something's going on?
Mm-hmm. Yep. This just happened I guess it's not Southtown, like a block away from the tower.
Okay.
I did this house. It was a really cool house. In your list of questions, it was going to actually be my story for later. Because in the listing, it was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, like this really cool renovation. I found a whole nother bedroom, whole bedroom that wasn't on the listing, had all the flooring, had AC, had electricity, like weird access to it. And I had to get through there because that's where I suspected the AC was on the other side of that. Super cool. These people called me 6-7 months after. Because they were trying to install a water softener. And the plumber who came to install it was like, hey, this little, it's not even a bar, but you know the little cup rinser outers that you see at the bar?
Mm-hmm.
You push down.
Mm-hmm.
They had one of those kind of on this coffee bar area. And it wasn't connected to the plumbing. Apparently the drain line just went straight down and out next to the foundation. And they were like, we didn't see that anywhere in your report. I was like, I pulled up the report. I looked. I was like, yeah, you're right, because it's not in there. I'm like, how did you miss it? I don't know. Like I ran all the plumbing. I obviously didn't sit there with that thing for 2 hours. And I'm like, let me come check it out. At least I can tell you what I see. And this was weird, but it had like a partial basement. So I crawled down there. And fortunately for my conscience, this drain was on the outside of that. So there's this big masonry wall that I couldn't see through, obviously. And I had to get on my belly and belly crawl 75 feet around just to find this.
Oh my gosh.
But I found it. I mean, and it truly was. They just ran a straight PVC pipe straight down. And this was a pier and beam foundation. Not only is it right next to one of the piers, but it's leaking on the subfloor. They cut it short, the PVC. So it was leaking on the subfloor and then dripping down the pier onto the ground. And they wanted to know what to do. I'm like, well, the cheapest solution is, take off these 2 pieces of siding, buy 4 feet of PVC and run it into your yard. Or you can spend $2,000 and tie it into the main system and drill through this masonry wall and all this other stuff that they didn't do before. But yeah, I mean, yes, I do get calls back, and it can be intimidating, but I have to approach it and say, like, I'm human. I make mistakes. My wife will be the very first to tell you, my wife and my kids. But for something big, like you missed a drain line that's on our foundation, that takes you back a second. So,
But it sounds like there was an easy fix.
yeah, fortunately.
Versus actually going through all the plumbing and
Yeah,
drilling and
fortunately, but
Yeah.
I'm sure at some point that won't be the case, right?
yeah, sometimes a lot matters.
So in your
Mhm.
career, you've worked with a ton of different realtors and buyers and stuff like that as well.
Mhm.
How much easier or harder is it depending on the realtor you work with? Like, have you ever worked with a really difficult realtor or
Yes.
a really easy realtor that comes to mind when it comes to inspections and preparing people and stuff like that?
Is this where you want me to like promote you?
Wouldn't be
Yeah,
a
no,
bad idea.
you're solid. What I want from every realtor is just call me, say, hey, I have a buyer. Here's their number. Here's the address. Reach out to them, and that's it. I do have, or not anymore. I fired this person, but she would come to the whole inspection. This agent or realtor would come to the whole inspection and just follow me around. She's like, did you put this on there? Did you put this on there?
Oh, God.
No. Did I put the scuff on the wall in my inspection report? No, I did not. Leave me alone. She's like, well, how can you write it? And this is when I got rid of her, because she wanted me to write things up so that
She could get more money.
Yeah, she could get more money, and the language was better suited to her favor. And that's not the point of this.
Mm-mm.
But an agent, and then I have had agents. There's a lady I worked for a couple of times. I didn't realize the first 4 inspections I did for her, she didn't have a real estate license.
Oh, wow.
That's not something I ever thought to check. Like, hey, I got your number from so-and-so. Here are my buyers. It's like, cool. So
Did she ever have a license?
No, she does now.
Interesting.
Yeah. But she,
Must have been working under somebody and they were
no,
no.
I have no idea how any of this works, but she,
There's
like,
no way for her to get paid. That's crazy.
I don't know. At the end of the inspection, like I did my inspection, she's like, okay, now what?
Well, I will
Now what?
tell you that I have run across one deal in the last 13 years. The realtor had the family pay him up front.
Wow.
Yeah,
that could happen.
I think you and I talked about this years ago, and I was like, how is this legal? And
It's not
it
illegal.
It just seems so unethical, because what if they didn't qualify for the house? What if they didn't qualify for a loan?
I know a couple of realtors that like will take a retainer up front.
He took $5,000 of their money.
Non-refundable?
It was going to be credited
Yeah.
into the loan. It was, I basically threatened to report him.
I mean, it's
to
supposed to, yeah, if that's agreed upon.
Yeah. And finally he gave the money back.
Trying to be shady.
That's awesome.
I'm just mean. So I don't mind.
I don't know.
It's crazy. Give me some examples of stuff that you see that I would say in the first year or 2 or 5 years will end up going out or becoming defective or
Besides like typical appliance stuff,
yeah.
Probably ACs, your air conditioning, depend on how your system was designed. One more quick story as to why I hate big builders. An ongoing fight I've been having. So when a builder decides to develop a neighborhood, they come up with all their models and floor plans and whatnot. Part of that process is the HVAC design, and it falls under 3 different steps. And I'm going to mess this up, but it's like manual J, D, and S, or J, S, and D. One section evaluates like the square footage, the number of windows and doors, entries, exits, all that kind of stuff. The next one, based upon those calculations, sizes the equipment. And the last one sizes the ductwork and the return so that the whole system all works together for this building. Very important. Manual J, the last item on that list is number of expected occupants. So when builders, if they're a terrible company, and most of them are, what they will do is they will put that number at 0, because when the house is being built, it is not owned by anyone. So they do not have to say that this is a 5-bedroom house. It should have at least 5 humans in it. When you take all those humans out of it, you can then
size down to a lower unit, which is less expensive.
Unit. Absolutely. Unfortunately, the builder's only saving $1,000, maybe 2,000 on that unit.
But you throw that to 100 houses times 1,000 houses times, yeah.
What that ultimately ends up for as the future owner of the home is they have a 3-ton unit trying to heat and cool a 3,000 square foot house with 7 rugrats living in it. That unit's going to run nonstop.
My second home.
I've heard this be an issue before with new construction. And I think it was an inspector that alerted me, and then I got an AC guy out there, and he's like, dude, no way. Like this house is way too big for that size unit. And and I think we ended up getting the unit replaced because of that.
Cool.
We had a 2-story house, and I won't mention the builder, and every summer the upstairs, we wouldn't even go up there. It was just too hot. It was just way too hot. No matter how much we ran the AC, it just was way too hot. And then my brother-in-law, he has an AC license, and he says, look, Carlos, he goes, you got 2 options. He goes, option 1 is about $10,000. We can replace your entire unit and start all over. He goes, but then we might have duct problems. He goes, so that's another issue. He said, option 2 is a cheat. Just run your fan all day. He goes, at least you'll circulate your air.
Yeah. He didn't give you a can of diesel.
No.
One thing I encourage people, especially if they're buying an older home, and sad to say now, I think anything before 2010 is an older home. That makes me feel super old. But
thanks.
Before 2010, most homes had a single return or 2 in their house. Well, that works for parts of the country, but here in like Houston, hot, humid areas.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You're going to hear my spiel again. The way AC works is about controlling the humidity. And the only way you can control humidity is by getting air back to the central unit. And if you have one 24 by 24 grill, right outside your kitchen for your entire house, that means all the warm air from your master bath has to travel out the bath, through the door, through the living, whatever. All the stuff upstairs has to travel out their doors, down the stairs, all back to that. Your system's going to constantly be running. An appropriate way to do it is to have a return in every room that conditioned air is coming out of. You do that, you can actually get away with a smaller unit. Or if you have a 4 to 5 ton unit that's appropriately sized, but multiple returns, you're not running it constantly. So when an AC company says this unit should last you 15 years, that is designed and tested by the manufacturer under optimal conditions, which, as I just said, is a return everywhere conditioned air comes out. If it's not that, you can have that lifespan.
Well, the house that we're in right now, I think I was telling you when we bought it, the master bedroom is so far from the house.
Yeah.
It's never getting cool when it's 105 degrees outside.
Yeah.
So we had the option of replacing the entire AC system, $15,000, or install a $3,000 mini split.
Yep.
That's the option we chose. Yep. And now we don't have to cool the whole house. We just cool the bedroom.
Yep. And most of those units come with like a 5-year warranty, and then you can get an additional 5, I think, if you register. So at least you have the 10 years.
Right.
That's the more ideal for those units. Not everybody knows that. I've seen some builders tell the buyers that, though, to register for their appliances.
Yeah. Mine forgot to tell me.
Yeah.
And the AC went out, and again, the builder was honest enough that they covered the tab.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah. I always remind the buyers too. I mean, that's a big deal, because I know ACs go out left and right here.
Yeah. We use them so much.
What's your take on those return vents? Like they're putting in doors now, or it's just basically a vent. They're putting in doors and above doorways.
Jump vents.
The jump vents. Do those help?
Yeah, sure. I mean, what they probably help the most in is not having slamming doors. Because all that is, if you don't have that vent there and the AC kicks on, it creates suction and the door slams shut.
Adjusts the pressure.
Yeah. it's better than nothing.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean much. And it can cause safety issues. Like if you think about fire breaks out in another place, if you have that door that is.
Oh, wow. You're going to have an entrance of smoke.
Yeah. Well, that and the heat differential. I mean, most bedroom doors are not solid core. They're hollow, but it's still a freaking barrier.
Right.
But now you've compromised that.
What are some easy repairs sellers can do beforehand, before they list the home?
That was my favorite question.
Yeah,
That's a really good one.
It's a good question.
I was thinking about it, and I could come up with like 10 million that is like the worst idea. Like painting and redoing their kitchen counters and all that kind of
simple
crap.
painting.
So this is a gamble.
Okay.
And it really comes down, the size of the gamble comes down to how morally or ethically secure your seller is. But if it were me, I would absolutely have a third party inspector come and inspect my
Ahead
house.
of time. Okay.
Because you don't know what you don't know. And I would rather know up front than get blindsided. The downside, if you hire someone like me, I will come and I will give you an exhaustive list. You are now legally obligated to disclose all of that on your seller disclosure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If you weren't of sound moral or ethical character, or someone else hired me to do it, I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, I always tell sellers up front, like, hey, anything we have to put on seller disclosure. So if we do, the pre-inspection, we have to put all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's known unless you do repair it, and then we'll tell them, hey, we repaired this already. But
Mm-hmm.
now by law, if you know it, you got to disclose it.
Exactly. And the gamble is if you don't do that, and then you hire the buyers hire a bad inspector that don't notice any of the things that I found. Well, now you've just wasted some money.
I mean, that's definitely why it's important to hire a reputable inspector, for sure.
Okay, so there's a good question. How do you know who's reputable? Because in our industry, I mean, the last I remember, there were 16,000 realtors. I'm going to assume there's a pretty high number of inspectors.
I have no idea how many.
How do you know who's reputable and who's not?
I'm gonna get in a lot of trouble with my partners for this. So I just discovered, if you go online on Google Big 2014, which is our company, you'll see all of our glowing reviews. I don't know, we've updated it in a while, but there is actually a service. We do not currently have it enabled, but there is a service that you can click to where all the negative reviews go to something completely separate.
Right. Anybody can buy reviews. Right.
For $150.
Oh, what he said, that's crazy.
Yeah. Anybody can. I mean, I've seen. I had a vendor. I was at an event in Vegas, and this vendor was talking about how he was going to guarantee all these reviews, and he just had a little shop in India.
Yeah.
No. But not just that. What he's saying is that
they'll delete them. I know they move them.
They move them.
Yeah.
They go away. So Ryan's like,
they're able
do
to
not hire Chris.
Reroute the negative
worst.
reviews.
I get you.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So
crazy.
It's not rocket science.
Like, what is the purpose of the review? So I don't know how to answer your question other than hire me, or Blake or Chris or Nick, like any of the guys that I work with.
But I think, time out, I think there are some ways, right?
Okay.
So, I think it's a reasonable question to ask you, hey, how long have you been in the business?
Cool.
What's your insurance?
Okay.
Have you ever been sued? Has give me some of your negatives, because nobody's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
If your first answer is, oh, I've never had an issue, I'm out.
Yeah.
Because just nobody's perfect.
That initial conversation with the buyers too may help, right? I mean, they're going to have some questions. You're going to probably lace them up on a couple of things.
So it sounds like you really want
Educate
dad
him.
there, right?
God, yeah. Please bring your dad. The entire inspection.
Mr. Know-it-all.
Oh God.
I mean, you're my go-to inspector. I've had several inspectors over the years, and I've actually used several inspectors that maybe the buyer was recommended, or they want specifically, friend, family member, or whatnot. Sometimes those are more difficult to work with. I work with you because I feel like you're very knowledgeable, for one, but also you're able to relate to the buyer a little bit more and dumb it down as far as what this actually means.
Mm-hmm.
And you care. I mean, you're going to spend a good amount of time after the inspection explaining all this stuff. You're available by phone. They get your personal line.
Yep.
And so I think working with an experienced and reputable agent is a good place to start too, because they should have
A
good
stable
people.
of those. That's
They
true.
should have good people.
Well,
they
no, you're
work
not going to
with,
surround yourself with people that are going to ruin your reputation.
and that's why I work with you, and that's why I work with you, and a couple of my people that I work with specifically are because I know they do good work.
Yeah.
You know,
I think one thing that Big 24 is set out to do, so it's myself, another Chris, Blake, and Nick. And we have to do continuing education, just like I have to do for all medical licenses and stuff. What we do is we get together and we're like, what are you going to focus on this year? What are you going to focus on? So we don't all do the same thing. So as one 4-man crew, we can cover pretty much anything from commercial to residential, from downtown condos to out in comfort and wells. Like my big specialty, unfortunately, I chose septic like last year, 2 years ago, which was the worst because then I got to deal with that. But
yeah, then that means you're coming to my house.
yeah, God, that was a terrible decision. But I'm glad we have that in our knowledge base. And then I did wells. I think Blake did solar. Chris went and got his certification so that he can actually treat for wood destroying insects, and kind of spun off so we can treat stuff as well. Nick has actually started another home inspection company in a different state. For some reason, Julie and I thought about starting a medical practice in New Zealand so I can practice internationally. Like, it's just a wealth because, you know, I have the internet, but there's stuff that we run across every single day doing inspection. And we're on our group text, we're like, here's a picture. Can anyone figure this out? Because I have no idea. And any inspector that says they know it all is not worth their weight.
Is there some sort of journeyman time frame?
Yeah.
Or can anybody just go pass a test and say, I'm an inspector?
No, you have to pass the state exam, the national exam. But before you sit for those, I believe it was before, it's been a while. At some point in the process, before you can go do your own, you have to shadow. You have to do ride-alongs, like 120 hours worth of ride-alongs or something.
So you're invested in your craft day one.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the startup cost at a minimum, you don't need all the fancy tools. But if you want to give a report equivalent to what I do, I mean, your startup cost in tools is probably $5,000-6,000. And that's not talking about, you know, testing solar or septic or wells or any of that.
Plus the
stuff.
willingness to crawl 75 feet on your belly through spider webs.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, pass.
No, man, that's why I have taken my 11-year-old and my 8-year-old boy, especially in Alamo Heights, where there's so many crawl spaces.
Yeah.
Because I don't fit.
I get you.
Like, here's a flashlight, here's a phone.
Well, guess what?
Go.
Also, you know, over the last 70, 100 years, those houses are starting to sink.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a little bit, but
I did a loan.
Okay.
I did a loan, and home inspector sends me a photo, and I'm like, bro, I'm the lender.
I don't want to see
Talk
this.
to your agents. And then the appraiser sent me the same item. I'm like, well, now I have to deal with it. Appraiser says, why is there a little doorway that I only see 6 inches above the ground? The house had sunk and had been filled over the years with soil.
No.
You had no access to the crawl space.
Jeez.
Oh, okay. So you're not talking like a 4-foot door. You're talking about
It had like a little crawl space
Yeah,
doorway.
yeah, okay.
It had, but the foundation
much?
had completely sunk.
That's
Plus
crazy.
whatever soil
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah.
To sell that house, they had to completely dig it out, pour a foundation underneath it, and now make it a permanent access point. It was almost a disaster.
That's insane.
Sounds like a big disaster.
They weren't messing around. Yeah, the appraiser called it out, and family really wanted the house.
I never would have suspected. I mean, at our ranch down south, fences that I put up when I was my kid's age have been windswept to where the soil is now on the top row of barbed wire. But,
Sheesh.
to where was this?
In the downtown area.
Okay.
And it was a VA loan, so you know that's going to be
The
called.
VA.
They're going to calling it out. We're done.
Every time. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is why I went conventional on my 50-year-old house.
Yeah, the VA, I feel like every couple years is like, this is the new hot ticket item. This is what we really care about. And as an inspector, it's not my job to know that. But at the same time, if I don't know that, it's a giant pain in the ass. If I don't know it's a VA loan and I go do the inspection and leave without doing a WDI, that means another trip for me. That
Right.
means more gas money, more time, not doing other work. Plus the buyers are going to have to now pay me a different rate for coming up a second time. But
yeah, that's another thing. You're licensed in WDIs,
Mhm.
and termite inspections. I think that's important for sure.
in Military City, yep,
For sure.
lots of VA.
So you already told us a couple of stories, but what's one of the most crazy, I guess the craziest thing you found on an inspection that was hidden that you had to kind of dig a little bit to find, and one thing led to another to where it became a huge issue?
You mean today or last
Yeah,
week? That's
I
what I'm
was like,
hearing.
how much time do you got?
One that comes to mind.
One of two, both safety issues. One was a flipped house on the east side, and it looked immaculate online. The pictures, I'm sure someone would have paid for it sight unseen, and like, we're good. Walk in, and I've got all my tools, and I go and drop them on the stainless steel countertop in the kitchen before I go start my little walk around. But as soon as I do, my electrical tester, the point one, just starts going, burp, 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 burp. I was like, man, I didn't think I dropped it that hard. And I went to grab it and put my arm on the table and got 120 volts. And I'm like,
Holy shit.
from the countertop.
That's
I was just
crazy.
like, what is going on? So I went and grabbed the wooden door of the sink underneath and opened it up. And sure enough, the outlet where the garbage disposal plugs in had a loose wire and was touching the stainless steel countertop. And I was like, got it. So I went outside and I just killed the power to that. Came and I tested that outlet. And I'm like, we're good. And stupidly put my hand back on the countertop. And you would think, having medical background, you never test something
Not like
with
that.
your open hand. You always do with the back because
Sheesh.
electricity makes you contract. But I did it like this, and sure as hell, I grabbed on, like it just clenched down on it. Eventually worked free. It wasn't the garbage disposal. It was one of the lines up in the attic had like been pierced with a nail gun. And they had this weird lag bolt thing running all the way down that just happened to be touching the countertop.
Sheesh.
And before I left, I didn't finish the inspection. I just went and killed the power and I wrote it off and was like, no, this is unsafe to inspect. And the people still wanted to buy it. I was like, okay, get a different inspector because I'm not going back to that house.
Hey, you completely walked away from that one.
Yeah.
I bet there's a couple you've walked away from, right? For different reasons.
For different reasons. Like people who
Getting zapped is a pretty good one.
I've had an inspector tell me that before. Like I'm just not going to deal with this house. It's just too much. And do you see a lot of common problems? I mean, I'm sure you do, but with flips,
yes,
just people, yes,
Taking shortcuts.
not being done
Flipper's
right,
gonna
taking
flip.
shortcuts. Yeah,
Flipper's gonna flip. Absolutely.
We had one, and it was really hard when we discovered that the wiring was really bad through the house.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I got to be able to sleep at night. We rewired the entire house. That wiped out my profit. I made nothing on that house. Cost me $13,000 to rewire it.
Probably should have hired me before you bought it.
It was a matter of during COVID, I had about 30 minutes to make a decision and not. Yeah. But I'll take one loss out of 5 or 4, whatever the number was.
Yeah. No, rewires. They save the day, but from a safety standpoint, but they kill you. I think electrical issues in general are the most DIY thing that we see.
Oh God.
Thank God for YouTube. But I think what's fun about doing flipped houses is, especially if they're experienced flippers, there's some without your standing moral code that will spend an hour to try and hide the wrong thing rather than, an hour and a half to do it correctly. And so like if a house is old and not grounded, has a bunch of those 2-prong outlets, inspectors are not allowed to take off, like to remove an outlet to check and see how they did their wiring. They can just put in the tester. But if there's not a cover on it, there's nothing that prohibits me from looking in there. And if something is disconnected, I can just pop it out, and you will frequently see a jump pigtail, which is a way to just make it pretend like it's grounded. It's offering none of the protection that it was designed for, but it'll pass one of those plugs. Just like I just don't understand it.
And there was a lot more flips going on, like right after COVID,
Yeah.
during COVID. And so I'm sure you saw a lot of those issues. I mean, flippers have slowed down a little bit, but I think it's definitely still something to look out for and watch out for.
Yeah.
We flipped a couple of homes, and that's one of the things that definitely scares buyers and is a huge concern, right? Anything electrical. So I'll try to get an inspector in there ahead of time and see if it's worth, how much it's going to cost to buy, especially after your experience, right? So I think that's something to be aware of.
My worst story there, first time home buyer, she was very reluctant. Mom and dad said, you need to do it, it's time. So she took her savings, she started looking. She liked a house that was in the mom's area. And I said, listen, there's another house that's been completely renovated. I said, they've got permits, they've got everything. I said, the house you're looking at just on the photos makes me skeptical.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not even an expert, but I could see stuff that looked like it didn't belong.
Yeah.
And she didn't listen to me. She bought the house that she wanted. And a month later, the ceiling collapsed.
Was she okay?
Yeah.
Good.
But she was able to, she had to move out of the house. She didn't have the money to fix the entire ceiling.
Yeah.
Her insurance said it was the builder's fault or the flipper's fault, and everybody was blaming each other, but nobody wanted to pay for it.
Yeah.
She ended up having to go into foreclosure.
Yeah.
She lost her home.
Well, like you mentioned earlier, the beam that's in your house that is not sufficient anymore. I mean, it was sufficient for the roofing that was on there at the time, but now we're no longer a 3-tab shingle. Like the default is an architectural shingle, which is 4 times heavier.
Plus the fact that it's 50 years old.
Yeah. Like things change. The building materials have gotten better, but there are unforeseen issues that.
Yeah, we ended up going with a 22-foot, 6-inch wide engineered beam. I think that beam was like $6,000.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Not to mention all the guys that it took to carry it.
I know, it's ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
that's something huge for sure. Well, what are some issues moving forward in the next 5, 10, 20 years you see that could be issues for inspectors and inspections? Anything you see that the builder's doing now that may affect us in the next, I mean, I know there's a ton, but something that sticks out.
No, there's just so much variety in builders. One thing that I am not seeing that I would like to see.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Is more emphasis on a household electrical demand and the reduction of that, whether it's better insulation, better windows, whatever. I mean, electricity prices are ridiculously high right now, but they're expected in the next 5 years to go up 15% more. At the same time, we're about to start having more EVs in every home.
With all the energy we're using.
Yeah. So let's change some of the things up front, whether that's the addition of spray foam, or if you're like right now, some of the new builds, those inspectors you were talking about say that they do blower door test. If you've ever seen that, what it is they tape off all the ductwork, they close all the windows and doors except for one door, and they have literally a giant fan that sucks in or blows out air and measures the pressure. So you can see what's leaking in and what's not.
Oh, interesting.
Really cool. Most of the time it's done inappropriately because it takes a while and you have some specialized tools to do it. But if we could get that to be an industry standard where it was performed correctly, then you could really design a house around that for more energy efficiency. Solar, if we could have a solar company or a roofing company, one of the two, develop a way to attach solar panels to a house to where it does not leak, that would be amazing.
Well, they're screwing holes all through the roof.
Well, they're doing it on new builds. They don't have to. They don't have to. I just want one or the other. Like, there's not a solar company in town that I endorse because of that. There's no one who's doing it appropriately. that I've seen yet. And there's no roofing company that will touch solar panels. They just come out and they're like, if you have solar, you as the buyer have to deal with this before we fix it. But solar, I think, on a small residential home can make sense if it's not going to, let water flood your house. That would be cool.
So you're a fan of solar?
Under the right circumstances, absolutely.
Yeah.
We live in Texas, so
We get a lot of sun.
we do. I mean, the environmental conditions are right. The incentive structure isn't as good as it is for, like, say, California. California, every watt that you produce that you don't use, you sell back to the market dollar for dollar.
No, here it's pennies on the dollar.
Yeah. So when someone's like, I'm going to get solar, I want to go off grid. I'm like, cool, you're an idiot, because, the amount of money it costs up front to take yourself off grid at peak energy demand is, in my case, when I got a quote for it, was like $170,000.
Yeah, just those batteries alone.
Yeah. Oh, that was without batteries. This is just panels.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
It's become so expensive these days. Like, I know a family that bought a house at $250,000 and they paid like $50,000 for solar panels,
Mhm.
and they're on a payment plan.
Mm-hmm.
And then 3 years later, they wanted to sell it, and there's just no way to recoup that money. This is going to be a long-term hold for them. They can maybe rent it out, but selling it, they would lose money right now, just because they're just so expensive. And I really feel like they got screwed on that deal too, because I mean, this house wasn't that big, but whoever sold them these solar panels, I mean, $50,000 is a lot.
Yeah, it's the people who come to door, predatory style, or even some of the more legitimate ones. The app that they use that generates the images and walks you through, it's very compelling. If you don't know what you're talking about.
I interviewed 3 solar companies before we put solar on that house in Fair Oaks. And the only reason we did it was we truly believed we'd be there at least 10, 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew my recoupment was at 10 years.
Yeah.
But those things sometimes only last 10, 15 years too.
No, the warranty on
Lifetime?
the panels is, the ones that I bought were at 22 years, they were guaranteed to produce 80% of what the initial start was. I mean, after the 7 years, we were still producing something like 95% of what we were starting with. So, but we monitored.
That's good.
The app that we were using.
Yeah, because over time they get
Yeah.
less and less effective.
There's some really cool new sub panels and main panels, and some ancillary technology that you can add without getting solar that lets you track how much usage and where in your home.
I've got a question for you. Old houses.
Mhm.
Man, you just touched on something that I'm incorporating into my home. Old houses, or actually any house. I go on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm really smart, I shut the water off at the valve.
Cool.
Okay. I'm not really smart. My neighbor went on vacation for 4 days and came home to a house that was completely underwater. The toilet hose had popped under pressure and was just leaking, pouring water. I thought I remember reading something that there's some sort of valve that you can install at the entrance to your home,
Mm-hmm.
that if it detects a certain amount of running water for a certain period of time, it shuts the water down to the house.
I don't know that I've ever seen one that has an automatic valve to shut. I can maybe if it's time based, because I could see a safety issue there, like you have a fire and you're trying to put it out,
Right,
or
right.
whatever. But absolutely ones that alert. We have that. I don't know if Ring offers one, and I don't explicitly
I've
endorse
had
Ring.
Sauls called me and other clients that
Your
basically
electric meter?
alert. Yeah,
Yeah, I get alerts on my
alert you that
but
your
it's 2
water's
days later.
running.
Like when I fill up my
excessively.
pool,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get an alert, but it's the next day. I mean, imagine I'd been running 24 hours with the hose on.
Yeah,
That's a lot of water.
If you go to Ferguson's and ask, I'm sure they can point you in the correct direction.
I know one of the things that we're going to incorporate in our electric panel upgrade outside, we have to go to a bigger line
Mhm.
because our line is so tiny. But we're adding the plug and valve for a generator.
Do you have gas to your house?
Yeah.
So
we're going to run a gas generator.
Are you going to do 2-stage so you can do gas or diesel? Smart.
it's just something I don't want to have to deal with. I mean, when we were lucky, when we lived in Fair Oaks, when we had that big freeze for 10 days, 7 days.
So gas.
I mean, we were close to a military installation, so we had electricity and heat the whole time.
Nice, yeah.
My mom in Alamo Heights was in freezing, she was wearing bathrobes on top of coats.
Yeah. Trying to stay warm.
Because they had no heat. Oh, because.
But the water.
No, it was here's the worst part.
The water was bad.
My mom's house has gas.
Mm-hmm.
The city told her it was unsafe and that she needed to convert to electric.
Ouch.
So she disconnects the gas line to the heater, runs electric, and was freezing for 7 days.
Jeez.
CPS made some money there. Anything that produces heat
Those bills are crazy.
right now, gas is the way to go.
Agreed.
Because it just takes so much electricity to produce.
Yeah, but you have states like California that are trying to ban gas stoves and gas heaters.
Yeah, we live in Texas. It will not be.
Yeah, amen to Texas.
But yeah, I mean, I would say it would behoove everyone in San Antonio to know exactly where the energy hogs are in their house. And before, when we had super cheap electricity, it didn't matter if your refrigerator was 20 years old if it kept your food cool. But right now, it's starting to become the calculus is like, okay, my fridge cost me this many dollars a year to operate, and a new fridge costs a quarter of that or an eighth of that.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's time we upgrade a fridge.
So you're saying I might need to upgrade my garage fridge that's 25 years old or 35 years old?
Maybe, but like without being able to monitor that one branch circuit, how would you know? And there right now, I don't remember the name of the system. I have it where you can tap these little sensors onto every branch circuit. And it feeds into your app, probably a lot like your solar app does. But I'm used to dealing with electrical panels and stuff all day. I don't know what it would cost to get an electrician
to retrofit it. Yeah.
Well,
maybe it's something I could do when I do the new panel upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, it really is as simple as
monitor
screwing
my
a couple of wires. But yeah, then you're like, this is killing me. So when we redid our house, my non-negotiable was a steam shower. I just had to have a steam shower. So we got a steam shower, and it's the most amazing thing ever. Until I did my branch circuit monitor and realized it cost me at least $4 a minute to run my steam shower. And now every morning when I see my 11-year-old scamper into my room to get his morning wake up steam shower for 5 minutes, I'm like, cool, dude, where's my $20? Hand it over. So my non-negotiable is still luxury in every essence, but
that's wild.
You don't know what you don't know.
Yep.
Yeah. Because like I said, we bought our house during COVID. So it was either get an inspection and not get the house or not get the inspection. And I told you, I mean, fixing the pool was, I think, $15,000.
Screw pools.
And that was just to make it. Oh, I love the pool.
I hate pools.
But
did y'all waive the inspection too on that?
We had to.
Yeah.
It was either that or, I mean, we were up against like 15 bids.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wild West.
Over ass.
Yeah.
Waive the inspection, waive the appraisal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy times. That was a huge issue during COVID.
The fortunate thing for me was being an experienced homeowner, being somebody that knows how to fix probably 60% of the stuff that most people would call somebody for. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
I won't touch electric. That stuff scares the Jesus out of me. But I can do the other things. You know, if I notice that I go up in my attic and all of a sudden it's cooler than it is in my house, that means I have a leaking vent in my attic somewhere. So now I got to find that.
Yeah.
You know, so I know how to do those things.
What I would recommend during those times was you may waive the option period and waive the appraisal, but still get an inspection. Just to know what you're walking yourself into, because you could always still walk away and they get their earnest money.
Which is why when I walk the house and
but
my
if you
wife
have a
kept
major
saying,
issue in the house, it's going to cost you way more than that earnest money. So
I saw the
away.
foundation around the patio cracking and shifting. I saw the hanging wires in all of the different little on buildings that we have on the property. And I went back to my car and I sat in there. My wife said, I still want it. And I said, no, this is $100,000 just to get it right. I wasn't wrong.
No.
But I don't regret it now. I just don't want to say that out loud to her.
Yeah. It's not like this is being recorded or anything. Yeah.
Well, we've been on here for a while now. I think we're ready to wrap up. Do you have any more questions for Chris?
No, this
Chris?
has been a really good conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is fun.
You have anything
Enjoyed it.
last to add to all those buyers out there that are going to start using you now?
I was joking about the can of diesel. Don't actually burn down a new home.
Understood.
You will get in a lot of trouble. It's just a sentiment I like to convey. No, make a list of questions. Make a list of questions. It doesn't matter. Like if you have a good inspector, they will answer them. They need to know where your level of expertise is. If it's non-existent or way up here, it doesn't matter.
Here's a good one. On your website, are there basic questions that somebody can just say, hey, look?
Oh, dear Lord, I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't do any of the internet-y stuff. Probably.
Okay.
Actually, no, I take that back. Yes, there is. It's actually broken down
That's
by,
really cool.
by age of home. I remember this. Yes.
That's
it's like
really cool.
If you're looking at 1980s, here's what to
Hey,
consider.
you can
That's awesome.
add the website, right?
Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll
Sweet.
add Chris's information to
Okay.
the YouTube channel, and then they can always reach out to me via social media because you don't have social media, right? Facebook, maybe.
I'll ask my
MySpace?
wife or my
MySpace?
son. I honestly have no idea. I don't know
Okay.
what I do.
Well, Chris is not much online, but we are. So,
I get you.
You can reach out to either me or Carlos, and we can give you Chris's information.
Oh, my son has a YouTube channel.
Yeah, you can put it on there.
There you go.
There we go.
Complaining about Whataburger and Minecraft.
I can see the relationship.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, cool. Chris, thank you for taking the time to be
Yeah,
on
it
here
was
and answer
fun.
some questions. Chris is my go-to guy for all inspections. Very experienced, very knowledgeable, and very hand-holding, I would say. And again, I highly recommend him. So thanks for tuning in, guys. Until next time, we'll see you.
Thanks.